So is Daf Yomi, which is Daf Chavav. Let's start on Chav Hayam Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. The Gemara cites a Meisvei, which is introduction to a Tosefta, which the Gemara says is contradicting a teaching that Rav Nachman gave in the name of Rabbi Bar Avua, who says that everybody says that about an islandess. An islandess is a woman who's not capable of ever having children. She was born like that. She was born without the siman and without the signs of being able to have children. And she never will drink the bitter waters according to everybody. That's what Rav Nachman said in the name of Rabbi Bar Avua. So the Gemara cites a Tosefta to contradict this idea. May say on the Kanel Arusa, so the Tosefta is very long, and only the last line of it is going to be relevant to contradict Rav Nachman in the name of Rabbi Bar Avua. But the Gemara cites the whole Tosefta because the whole Tosefta is relevant to Masechah Sotah. Amikana Arusa, so somebody who warns his Arusa, or Shomeres Yavam. Arusa is the betrothed woman. The Shomeres Yavam is the woman who's waiting for Yibam, so he warns her. Kana Arusa Saso Shomeres Yavam. So Imachol Kansa, if before he fully married her, Nistara, she became secluded, then Sotah won't tell us Ksuva. So then she doesn't drink or get the bitter waters. And we've already done this because it's based upon a verse. Muberes, let's say she was pregnant, Michavero, she was pregnant from his friend. And his friend that made her pregnant. Umeinekes Chavero, or she was nursing his friend's baby. And then we had learned already that you're not supposed to marry such a woman. You have to wait for them to finish nursing. Lo shotos honotos ksuva. Meir says, under those circumstances, she doesn't drink the bitter waters, and she also doesn't collect her ksuva. So Shahaya Rabbi Meir Omar will yisa adam muberes chavero meinekas chavero. Meir is in the position you're not allowed to marry such a woman. V'im nisa, and if you marry such a woman, yotzi v'lo yachzer olamas, must divorce her and never ever remarry her. So therefore, under these circumstances, she wouldn't drink and she wouldn't get the bitter waters. Whereas the Chachamim Amar Miyotzi, he should divorce her and when after 24 months he could remarry her, or just we had seen earlier in our Mishnah that he could just separate from her. Doesn't have to actually divorce her, but maybe that so it's not good. The Chachamim starts saying that he has to actually divorce her, but he separates from her, and after 24 months he would remarry her. Va'arova is a younger man getting married. Shenasa Akara. He marries a woman who's clearly not able to have children. Uzekena, an older woman who can't have children. Ve'enlo isha ubanim meikara, and this younger man never had children yet, so he has not yet fulfilled the mitzvah of puravu. Sotah won't tell us ksuva. She would not drink and she would not get the bitter waters, and the reason is because we don't approve of that marriage. So we want that marriage to end. So if he warns her and she was secluded, he should just divorce her without a ksuba. Rabbi Elazar says no. What he could do is he could stay married to her, and he could marry another woman and be fruitful and multiply from her. But somebody who warns his own arusa or his shomeres yavam, and then afterwards, after she fully marries her, Nistara, then she does become secluded. Then, under those circumstances, Shotah, either she drinks or ksubasa. She either has to drink the bitter waters or she doesn't get her ksuba. Muberes umeinekes atzmo. Let's say she was pregnant, or she was from the man who she was married to. Umeinekes atzmo, or she was nursing from the man she was married to her. Shotah will not tell us ksubasa. She either drinks the waters or she doesn't get her ksuba. Rashi says the chiddush here is we don't say don't let her drink the bitter waters because we don't want to kill the fetus. So we're saying no, we're not concerned about that. We give her the bitter waters to drink even though she's pregnant. So Tosfos says V'tema amai islan lamiktale. Why do we have to kill her right away? Why don't we just wait until she gives birth? So that's the question Tosfos raises. Why don't we wait? So Tosfos gives a different answer, but for now, I just wanted to make everybody aware that Tosfos had a challenge to Rashi's explanation. The Gemara continues, Harova, the Tosfos continues, Harova Shanasa, and this is where it's a direct contradiction. Harova Shanasa Akara Uzakena, a young man who marries these women who can't give birth, V'yeshla Isha Avanim, and he has a wife or children already. O Sotah Lo Notelos Ksuba. Since he already has a wife or children ready, then she drinks the bitter waters or she doesn't get her ksuba. Eshes mamzer or mamzer. Let's say there's a woman who's allowed to marry a mamzer. Mamzer is allowed to marry certain people. So for example, a convert or a shifcha or a slave woman. So this wife of this mamzer who's married to the mamzer, Aish is mamzer or mamzer, but Aish is nasan or nasan, and also the wife of a nasan to a nasan. This is also somebody who can't marry into the regular Jewish people, but he marries this woman. Aish is the wife of a convert, Evan Meshuchar, and a Hebrew slave, the islandess, and this is the question. We say, so under those circumstances, Sotah Lo Notelos Ksuvasa. They either drink the bitter waters or they don't collect the ksuba. And this is a direct contradiction to the position that we saw on Chafayim Beis from Rav Nachman named Rav Baravua, because says by an islandess, everybody says she doesn't drink. This woman who was clearly from birth not capable of ever having children. And here we're saying in our Tosefta that there's a position that she does drink the bitter water. So it's a direct contradiction. Ketani mi islandess. We say directly here that an islandess either had to drink the bitter waters or she doesn't get her ksuba. To you to do Rav Nachman. So this is indeed a refutation of Rav Nachman. Where I said, not necessarily. I'm Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman would respond to Nahi. It's a dispute amongst the Tanaim. But on a Da'amri, I would say it, Ki ai Tana. I'll say it like the following Tana. The Tanya, Rav Shimon ben Elazar, Omer, Ailonis lo shotev lo notelos ksuvasa. Rav Nachman says it's a Machukas Tanaim, whether or not everybody says an Ailonis does not drink the bitter waters, because Rosh Shimon Elazar says an islandess does not drink the bitter waters. One tells ksuva, as it says, "V'nikta'av in Israel zera misha darko lazriya yatzazu she'ein darko lazriya." So he says it's a machokas tanaim, and so therefore he says I follow the following Tana who says that lo shotev lo notelos ksuva, that the islandess never drinks the bitter waters because it says. It's based upon the pasuk that says that if she drinks the bitter water, she'll be found innocent. Meaning to say, the pasuk says in Israel zera misha darka azriya yatsta zo she'in darka azriya. This excludes this woman who's not able to have children, and so therefore, according to Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, the islandess does not drink at all. My question with this is. But it's still, Rav Nachman says that it was divrei hakol. Everybody says that the islandess doesn't drink the bitter waters. And here so the fact that he says Rav Shimon ben Elazar, it's not enough. We'd have to prove that everybody says it. So I'll have to come back to everybody on that. The Rabbanan, so the Gemara says, well, according to Rabbanan, who says that the islandess does drink the bitter waters, according to the Rabbanan, who say the islandess does drink the bitter waters, the Rabbanan, hi, v'niktav in Israel zera my avnei. What do they do with the fact that the pasuk says that you need to have zera, you need to be able to produce your zera in order to drink the bitter waters? What do they do with that? They say it's like the following price of v'niktav in Israel zera shemaisa akara. It means that if she had been a barren woman, nifkedah, she'll be remembered. That if she was barren, now suddenly she'll have children. That's the position of Rabbi Akiva. Amar Rabbi Yishmael, so Rabbi Yishmael responds, "In Cain, if that's the case, if you're promised that if you were secluded and you didn't actually sin and you're going to have children, then nobody will ever go to a fertility clinic anymore. This is better than any fertility clinic. Yistru koha karos." All the barren women will say, I'll go secluded, v'yifkedu, and then Hashem will remember them. See then, so now we have another barren woman who she's a a good day school graduate. She doesn't do anything wrong, and she stays, and so therefore she's not going to get this blessing of fertility from Hashem. It doesn't make sense, says Rabbi Akiva. So according to Rabbi Akiva, what do we do with the pasuk Nikdav and Israel? Means if she was giving birth in pain, she'll give birth without pain. Or if she's giving birth to very few people, she'll give birth to more. If she was giving birth to only girls, she'll now also give birth to boys. Kitsarim, if she was giving birth to short kids, she'll give birth to tall. And shchar means that she'll give birth to more attractive children, which is obviously culture dependent. Aisha's mamzer or mamzer, the wife of a mamzer, if she's married to a mamzer and then she's accused of drinking the bitter waters, we're going to say either she drinks the bitter waters or she does not collect her ksuva. She doesn't that obvious. No, we might have thought, let them get divorced. We don't want to make more people who are prohibited to marry to the Jewish people because the wife of mamzer and a mamzer, they can get married, but they produce another mamzer. Much more, we don't say that she drinks. She has to drink the bitter waters. They drink the bitter waters. She doesn't that obvious. No, Mao the Tema, he might have said, the wife of the convert, Israel, speak to the children of Israel, Velo Gerim, but not to converts. Kamash one. So we see from here the converts also drink the bitter waters. Maybe the converts also don't drink the bitter waters. The Gemara says no. V'amarta says V'amarta is ribuye. Amarta adds on. Aisha's Kohen Sotah, the wife of a Kohen, is the wife of a Kohen. Aisha's Kohen. The wife of a Kohen drinks the bitter waters. Pshita, isn't that obvious? No, Mal the Tema might have said, Vihu nitfasa. It says that a Kohen, Asura. So it says in the pasuk that this woman who's the Sotah, because she was not assaulted, because she did willingly, she's prohibited. Hanitfasa, but if she was assaulted, mutaris, she would be permitted, and she doesn't drink the bitter waters. Vizel, but the wife of a Kohen, nitfasa, if she was assaulted, Asura, she becomes prohibited. I might think she doesn't drink the bitter waters. Kamashmalan, we don't say that. And we say that the wife of a Kohen drinks the bitter waters, and then she becomes again permitted to be with her husband. Pshita, isn't that obvious? So Amravuna b'misnavna. So we're going to say that what we're talking about here is that the waters checked her. And misnavna, she was diminishing as a result of drinking the waters. So the Gemara says, well, if that's the case, misnavna, but well, if she's diminishing, if her body's wasting away as a result of drinking the waters, isn't it clear that she sinned? Gemara says, no, but misnavna derech evarim. The pasuk tells us that she's going to be diminished by the thighs and the stomach, but here her other limbs are diminishing. Mao the Tema, you might have thought that she really was adulterous. And the reason why the bitter waters are not basically testing her or diminishing her in the normal manner, because the wife of the Kohen was assaulted, so it's only testing her or affecting her in this other manner. So by a Kohen, the wife of the Kohen should be prohibited. We don't say that. Okay, they said in our Mishnah, Isha Sris, the wife of a Sris is a person. A man who's not able to produce seed, it sometimes translated as castrated, but it's not exactly that. That she does drink the waters. She doesn't that obvious. No, Gemara says no. You might have said that because she was adulterous. It says in the pasuk, she slept with a man other than her husband. And this man, this Ris, he's not capable of producing seed. Kamash Malan, we don't say that. We don't say that. So she still drinks the bitter waters. They call arayos mekanim. So the husband is allowed to warn her against being secluded with any of the arayos. The arayos are people who she's already prohibited to be with from the Torah. He can still warn her about those, and then if she's secluded with them, she has to drink the waters, except with a minor and somebody who's not a man. That's what the Mishnah says. Well, Pshita, first of all, course he can warn her about the arayos. We're on the top of Chafavim base. So why do we even have to tell us this? The Gemara says, Ma'al Detemi, might have thought because it says Nitma'ah, Shnei Pamim. It says she became Tme'ah twice. It says Nitma'ah in the pasuk, V'avaru Avruach Kina v'Kines Eshto v'hi Nitma'ah, or Avaru Avruach Kina v'Kines Eshto v'hi Lo Nitma'ah. So it says the word Nitma'ah twice. Echel Abal v'Echel Abal. So one is for the husband and one is for the adulterer. So it might have thought, Heicha the Kamitzra Bahaz Nus Aval Ha Ho Vasur v'Kaima Imalo. So I might have said, when do we say that she drinks the bitter waters? Only where she became prohibited as a result of this adultery, prohibited to be with this this adulterer. But this person she'd already been prohibited to be with because it was an erva, because it was a relative. So I might not say that she drinks the bitter waters. Kamashal, we do say it. The exception of a minor. Why? Why is the husband not allowed to warn her about the minor? Because it says v'shachab ish osa, ish, a man, amar Rachmana, lo katan, not a minor. V'she'eno ish, when it says, and to exclude a person who's not a man, he can't warn her about that. What's it coming to exclude? If you want to say it's coming to exclude a shachaf, you can't warn her about a shachaf. What's a shachaf? Rashi says, Shebesaro nishlaf v'chalav v'yavesh v'imakav. His flesh is basically dry and disintegrating. And what does it mean by his flesh? His male member. Meaning to say his male member is not potent. So maybe that's what it's coming to exclude. But Shmuel says if a person is shachaf, you can warn her not to be with him. And if he's with her, he disqualifies her from ever eating the truma. So the Gemara says, meaning to say a woman who's the daughter of a Kohen who sleeps with somebody she's not allowed to, she loses her ability to eat the truma. So the Gemara says, also b'truma, pshita, isn't that obvious? If he's one of the disqualified people. Rashi says, let's say he's somebody she's not allowed to be with, let's say an idolater, like Rashi says, or a slave, or a mamzer, that if they have relations with a woman, they disqualify her from ever marrying a Kohen or from eating the truma if she's a daughter of a Kohen. And so we're saying that even though this person is shachaf, he disqualifies her. So what's it telling us here? That it says ish. If you want to say it's to exclude a shachaf, but we know that a shachaf we can warn her not to be with him because this man, this shachaf is capable of having relations, as evidenced by the fact that he disqualifies her from eating the truma. So the Gemara says, you might have said ma'adatema ba'alav barach. You might say, since he's shachov, since his member is not potent, he's not a barachi, he's not capable. Kamash Malan, we say that he is. Uposa b'truma. Pshit isn't that obvious? He disqualifies her from eating the truma. Ma'u the time, he might have said, lo yichalel zaro. Amar Rachmana. The islay zero chal, the islay zero chal. He might have said that since it says that a woman who sleeps with a man, if a Kohen sleeps with somebody he's not allowed to, or a woman sleeps with a man she's not allowed to, she loses her ability, she becomes chilula, she can't eat the truma anymore. But maybe that only applies to somebody who has zera. So you might have thought it only applies to somebody who has zera. But since the shachaf doesn't have zera, it won't disqualify her. We don't say that. El miyute comes to exclude ove kochavim, an idolater. That's what it means to say that he can't warn her about being with an idolater. Is that really the case? But we say Rav Hamnuna said that if it was an idolater, you can warn her not to be secluded with him. And if she sleeps with him, he disqualifies her from eating the truma. So he says, that he can warn her not to be with him. Shita isn't that obvious. Whereas no, not necessarily. It says the word nitma twice. Echel abal v'echel bal. One is with the husband, one is with the person she commits adultery with. And we might have thought, where do we warn her? Where do we warn her not to be with him? Only where she would have become prohibited as a result of this adultery. But here, since he was already prohibited, I might have said you can't. She can't drink the bitter waters as a result. We don't say that. And if she sleeps with the idolater, he disqualifies her from eating the truma. Again, she isn't that obvious. No, the Gemara says, we might have said, it says a daughter of a Kohen will tiyah. The word tiyah is in context of Kiddushin. With Ishdar, Amar Rahmana, Debara Vaya, in the Lavar Vaya Lo. Maybe Torah is saying, if he's capable of betrothing her, but he's not capable. Kamash Malon, so it's telling us in the Pasuk, from this Pasuk, it's telling us, the Mishnah telling us, the Pasuk. So we're going to say, Kamash Malon, the Pasuk, we're going to say is disqualified. So if Hamilton is teaching us that even though we might have thought from the Pasuk that the idolater does not disqualify her from eating truma, she's still disqualified. And how do we know that she is disqualified? So Rabbi Yochanan taught, how do we, in the name of Rabbi Shmuel, how do we know that an idolater or a slave who had relations with a Kohenes or a Levita or a daughter of an Israelite, that they disqualify her from eating the truma? It says, Uvas Kohen kitiyah almano grusha. There's a daughter of a Kohen. If she kisiyah almano grusha, the daughter of a Kohen, it says in the pasuk. Let me read the whole pasuk. Uvas Kohen kitiyah almano grusha v'zereng v'shaval beis aviyah b'kinu re'ah milechem aviyah tochal v'chol zar lo yochavo. It says the daughter of a Kohen, she becomes divorced or widowed, and she has no children from when she was married to the Israelite, and she goes back to her father's home, she can eat from the truma. So that's what the pasuk says. So what this means is misha yesho almanasu grushin. That this is only if she becomes divorced or widowed from somebody who she was actually married to. Yatsu avekchav ve'emet she'imbo almanasu grushin ba. She'imbo almanas v'grushin ba. This excludes if she had been with an idolater for whom she cannot be quote unquote widowed or divorced from, and then she does not able to eat the truma. So the Gemara says, well, if that's the case, so if that's the case, when it says that that the husband cannot warn her against somebody who is not a man, what's it coming to exclude? It's coming to exclude an animal. It's coming to exclude an animal because there's no adultery by an animal. So meaning to say, the definition of adultery does not apply to an animal. And so therefore, the husband cannot warn her against being secluded yichud with an animal. So how do we know this idea that the Rabbanan say that there's no such thing as adultery with respect to an animal? There's nus with respect to an animal because it says in the pasuk, "Lo savi es." Excuse me. The pasuk says, "Lo savi esnan zona umachir kelev." They're not allowed to bring an esnan zona, an exchange, something that was exchanged for intercourse with a harlot, or something that you sold for a dog, a sheep that you had exchanged for intercourse with a harlot, or a sheep that you exchanged for a dog. You can't bring it as an offering in the temple. Tanya, and we learned, but if it was an esnan kelev umachir zona, but if it was something that was exchanged for sleeping with a dog, or something that was exchanged for selling a harlot, that would be permitted. Mutar and shenem or gam shnehem. Both of those you can't bring. Shnayim below are two, but not four. So therefore, we see from here, so from the fact that the pasuk excludes a kelev, we see from here that a dog is not going to be considered like nus, because if it was nus, then it would be prohibited with esnano, and so therefore that proves this point. So the Gemara says, well, if that's the case, so earlier we had said that the case was that somebody was shachov, that this man whose member was not potent, even though he is not mazriya, even though he doesn't give forth the seed, we can warn her not to be with him. But we don't learn it out from the words shechva zera. So therefore, if that's the case, that was shechva zera lameling. Why do we learn out from the word shechva zera? If we don't say that this man who's a shachov is disqualified, that the kina doesn't apply to him. But why not? Why don't we say the kina doesn't apply to him? Doesn't it say that he has to have zera? So if that's the case, what do the word shechva zera come to teach us? The Gemara says, it's coming to teach us the following thing: shechva zera prato davar achar, that the woman is only prohibited if he warns her about shechva sarah, but not if he warns her about a different type of sexual activity. So the Gemara says, "My davar achar." What is this davar achar? That if he warns her about this other thing, she's not going to be. It's not considered a warning. Amarav Sheish, it's pratlus shekina lashal kedarka. If he warns her about anal intercourse, that's not considered a warning, and she's still allowed to be secluded. So Amalei Rava Shalok Kedarka Mishkavei Ishaksim. No, why Shalok Kedarka via Shalok Kedarka? That's considered sleeping with. That's considered basically sleeping in the normal manner, and so therefore that is going to be within that context of a warning. If he warns her not to have like touching the limbs of the man, meaning say like petting or foreplay, that's not considered that's not considered a warning. Of course, it's not a warning. That's just preachers. That's just licentiousness. Well, pritusa miyos rachman, and the Torah, biblically speaking, does not prohibit preachers. Okay, we're talking about a case where if he warned her about just the touching of the genitalia, that's not considered a warning. Where it says, well, that only makes sense according to the person who says that. What's the violation of adultery if you have actual penetration of a mashika, but if it's just the touching of the genitalia of wakum, that's nothing. Well, if that's the case, I know the asikralam yutin nishika. Therefore, by the Sotah woman, we say shechva sarah to exclude nishika from the prohibition, from the warning. Elamad amar ha'ara zu nishika. But according to the one who says that actually the touching of the genitalia is indeed intercourse, so then we can't say that it's being excluded from the category of kina. So then what do we say shechva sarah is coming to exclude? So Gemara says, so we're talking about a case where he warns her, you're not allowed to be secluded with this man and just basically touch him like foreplay. So it's to tell us that doesn't apply. And you might have said, then it's whatever the husband objects to. And the husband objects to it. That's not enough. It has to be something very specific. It's not enough for the husband to object to it. It has to be something specific that the Torah prohibits. And so therefore, that's what's being taught from the words shechva sarah. It's coming to exclude that it's only the sexual act of intercourse, but not just derech ivarim. That's not enough to warn her about. All right, we'll stop here. God willing, pick this up we'll review it at 8, and then tonight at 7:20 we'll review again. Shkoyach. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to address.